In the hallowed annals of American cinema, where directors' returns from self-imposed exiles often spark waves of speculation and reverence, James L. Brooks' reemergence with Ella McCay emerges as a poignant saga of creative resurrection, driven not by external pressures but by an internal thunderbolt of self-reckoning. At 85, the venerable filmmaker, whose oeuvre has etched indelible marks on the cultural psyche through masterpieces like Terms of Endearment and Broadcast News, stepped back into the director's chair after a 15-year hiatus, his last feature being the bittersweet rom-com How Do You Know in 2010. That film, a constellation of talents including Reese Witherspoon, Paul Rudd, Owen Wilson, and a scenery-chewing Jack Nicholson, encapsulated Brooks' signature blend of acerbic wit and aching humanity, yet it also marked a pause, a reflective interlude in a career spanning decades of accolades, including 3 Oscars that affirm his mastery of narrative alchemy. Brooks' confession, shared in an intimate exchange that laid bare the vulnerabilities of a lifetime in storytelling, paints a portrait of an artist who never truly wandered far from the flame. "I never didn't want to come back," he asserted with the quiet conviction of someone who's danced with doubt but refused its embrace. It wasn't like that. Instead, his absence was a tapestry woven from life's unforeseen gifts. Falling deeply in love, exchanging vows with his longtime companion Jennifer Simchowitz in a 2024 ceremony that blended joy with the patina of hard-won wisdom, and immersing himself in labors of love that sustained his spirit without demanding the solitary forge of feature directing. Marriage, he implied, was no distraction but a renewal, a reminder that creativity blooms in the soil of personal fulfillment. Yet, beneath this domestic harmony lay a subtle undercurrent of professional wanderlust, channeled into producing gems like Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, a tender adaptation that captured the awkward poetry of adolescence, and The Edge of 17, a sharp-edged coming-of-age tale that echoed Brooks' own penchant for characters teetering on emotional precipices. And God bless it, there's always The Simpsons, Brooks quipped, his humor a wry shield against the gravity of reflection. Since its late 1980s debut on Fox, the animated juggernaut has been his steadfast companion, a sprawling universe where he serves as executive producer, overseeing episodes that skewer American absurdities with surgical precision. This enduring gig, a counterpoint to the isolation of film directing, kept him at work. Engaged, vital, surrounded by a family of writers and animators who've become extensions of his comedic DNA. The Simpsons, with its yellow-hued lens on suburbia's underbelly, allowed Brooks to indulge his love for ensemble dynamics and satirical bite without the weight of a theatrical release. Yet, for all its joys, it couldn't quench the deeper thirst. The primal act of writing, that solitary communion where ideas gestate into worlds. "The thing I respect most about everything in movies is writing," he confessed, and suddenly it just hit me, sort of an identity crisis that I hadn't been writing in a while, and that got me going like a shot went off. This epiphany, as abrupt as a thunderclap in a quiet afternoon, birthed Ella McCay, a project that feels less like a calculated comeback and more like an inexorable force of nature. Brooks described the inception as visceral, a hit that pierced the veil of complacency, compelling him to reclaim the pen after years of proxy creativity. The identity crisis he evoked wasn't born of obsolescence. Far from it, at 85 with a resume that includes shaping TV's golden age through Taxi and Mary Tyler Moore Show, but of a profound disconnection from his core craft. Writing, for Brooks, is the soul of cinema, the forge where characters breathe and conflicts ignite. In the wilderness of his hiatus, he'd thrived on the collaborative hum of production, but the absence of original scripts gnawed at him, a silent indictment that personal bliss alone couldn't silence. Ella McCay then becomes a reclamation narrative, a film infused with the rom-com sensibilities that defined his peak but tempered by the gravitas of hindsight. To unpack this return, one must traverse the contours of Brooks' extraordinary path. Born in 1940 in Brooklyn's bustling melting pot, he cut his teeth in journalism before pivoting to television, where his scripts for the Mary Tyler Moore Show revolutionized sitcoms by infusing laugh tracks with feminist fire and relational nuance. The leap to features was seismic. Terms of Endearment, 1983, a tear-soaked epic of mother-daughter bonds starring Shirley MacLaine and Deborah Winger, swept the Oscars, cementing Brooks as a virtuoso of emotional cartography. Broadcast News, 1987, followed, a trenchant dissection of TV journalism's ethical quagmires, with Holly Hunter and William Hurt embodying the push-pull of ambition and integrity. These weren't mere entertainments, they were moral inquiries disguised as dramedies, probing the fault lines of family, career, and conscience. How Do You Know, despite its box office stumbles, retained this DNA, a woman's odyssey through romantic entanglements and professional crossroads, yet its reception underscored Hollywood's fickle appetite for Brooks' introspective style. The hiatus that ensued was no retreat but a rich fermentation. Producing The Edge of 17, 2016, with Haley Steinfeld's raw portrayal of teen angst, allowed Brooks to mentor from the shadows, his fingerprints evident in the dialogue's rhythmic snap. "Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret," 2023, echoed this, adapting Judy Blume's classic with a fidelity that honored puberty's messy miracles. And The Simpsons? It's the through line, a cultural colossus where Homer's bumbling everyman channels Brooks' belief in the redemptive power of folly. Yet, as 2024's marital joys settled, the void widened. "I truly don't have a conscious answer for it other than I had jobs that I loved," he mused, acknowledging the paradox, fulfillment breeding longing. The shot that propelled him was identity's clarion call. What am I if not the writer who conjures these worlds? Ella McCay answers with a fresh ensemble, eschewing all-stars for intimate authenticity, its plot a rom-com laced with existential whimsy. This film's genesis invites contemplation of creativity's ebb and flow. Brooks' story resonates with artists across disciplines: the painter who sketches but yearns for canvas, the musician jamming covers while original riffs ferment. His return defies the youth-obsessed machinery of Hollywood, proving that wisdom accrues like fine wine, deepening rather than diluting vision. At 85, directing anew is rebellion, a stake in the ground against obsolescence. Ella McCay promises to explore love's absurdities through a lens polished by life's accruals, perhaps centering a protagonist whose hit mirrors Brooks' own, a sudden awakening to unlived dreams. Fans of his canon, those who wept for Emma Horton's final breaths or rooted for Tom Grunman's quixotic quests, will find solace in this continuity, a reminder that great directors don't fade, they refocus.